So something you have to take away from this New York special is that Marinette's lucky charm can bring people back to life. I don't care what you say at this point. People died in this episode. There's nothing you can say that's going to convince me otherwise. People died. Guys, honestly, there's so much to unpack with this special that I'm not even entirely sure where to start. I've got 4 pages full of notes here. We're going to work our way through it, but I'm going to start in the best place possible, where the episode chose to start, and that's with the greatest character to grace this show, and that's Mr. Pigeon. They know what we fans like. They know what we're about, and that's Mr. Pigeon, because they've brought him back 51 times, apparently, according to Alia, like right at the beginning. They're fighting Mr. Pigeon. They show off their new spacesuits, which I'm going to circle back to because they wear them in this episode, but honestly, I don't understand why they don't wear their spacesuits the entire time. Being able to fly, having those wings, and look as cool as they do, I just don't see any downside to wearing them full time. I guess in case you really need them, but just make more of those little ingredient potion things. I don't know. Why don't you wear them every day, all the time? I mean, I would. It just didn't make sense to me why they wouldn't use something that convenient in their day-to-day. It's just so practical. But getting into the actual events, because I can rant on this all day, they fight Mr. Pigeon. They take him down for the 51st time. And you know what that tells me? Do you know what that tells me, a real Miraculous fan? That's not true, I'm a fake fan. That Mr. Pigeon is tenacious, and he'll get him one day. I'm rooting for you, Mr. Pigeon. But into the actual events, it's French-American Friendship Week this time around, and I don't know if that's an actual thing. I was too lazy to look it up, so now I'm putting it on the viewers. Sorry. I don't know if that's an actual thing, but if it is, they're celebrating it this episode, and I guess I'm just a bad American for not knowing if that's a real thing. Also, Miss Bustier is pregnant, and what? Like, who's the father? They haven't introduced them, and I guess they don't have to, but he still calls her Miss Bustier. And you know what that tells me? That's a child out of wedlock. That will be a little bastard baby. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I just didn't peg her for the type. She just seemed like such a good person. And I don't know what that says about me for assuming that good people wouldn't have kids out of marriage. I wandered into an existential crisis here, so I'm going to veer away from that back to Kim, who is a total jerk to Miss Mendelea for no reason. Also, that doesn't come back in the episode. He's like, she's no fun. She's a terrible teacher. We all hate her. Not to her face, but basically to her face because she's overhearing it. He's like, she's garbage. And Miss Mendelea feels bad about it, obviously so. And you think that's setting something up? Like maybe she'll be the akumatized person. Maybe that'll come back and there'll be an arc with her character because ultimately we don't really know what she's about except she likes science. Okay. But no, that doesn't really go anywhere. And that's like one of my critiques of this special. And I have more praise than critiques, by the way. I love the show. I love this special. That just seemed like something weird and needless that just came out of nowhere. Like they use that guilt to peer pressure her a bit later on the plane, but you didn't need that scene. That just seemed weird to me. Kim was a jerk for no reason, but okay. Also, in the same scene, Lila played herself, which is, you just love to see it. You love to see it because Lila is the worst. And she tells Adrien, because at that point she believes Adrien. Oh, sorry. Look what the show's doing to me. She tells Adrien's like, I don't think my dad's going to be able to let me go, guys. I'm sorry. I'm a model. I can't go. My dad's a strict dude. And Lila's like, I've got charity work too, so I probably won't go anyway. So we can hang out and stay here. To which Marinette gets up and is like, nah, dog. You're coming with us because that's what's going to happen. I'm the main character. I decide these things, and Lila played herself. She gets to stay. You love to see it. Marinette goes confront Adrien's dad, and he's like, yeah, all right. She has a whole speech, and then like they give her credit or whatever. But it turns out there's a Miraculous in New York, so it pans out anyways because the whole class is heading there. And I guess that brings up a couple interesting points. One is that it's got to be a Miraculous from another miracle box. They confirm that later, but just taking you through the motions of how I saw it. Yeah, it has to be a Miraculous from another miracle box because they've yet to mention another another Miraculous, so that's cool to know. Also, what's going on with Natalie? She's in bed. I heard heart monitor. She's bedridden, and like, not Natalie, guys. Come on, didn't they set up at the end of the last season that they were fixing the Peacock Miraculous? This one obviously takes place after the end of season 3. Like, what happened between then and now that made her bedridden? I'm not entirely sure. I hope it's not the Peacock Miraculous, because she uses it again, and it further shows that Hawkmoth Gabriel doesn't care about Natalie, which is totally messed up because she's the waifu, or at least she should be, in this episode when he's talking to Emily, I believe her name is, Adrien's mom, down in the like Mr. Freeze ice tomb chamber thing. He's like, oh, being away from you is gonna be torture when I go to New York. And I'm just sitting here all the while saying, dude, shut up, like, go home. All right, guy. Natalie's in the other room. Go talk to Natalie. She's the waifu. I know I'm getting hot about this. I know I haven't even begun to talk about the important stuff of the episode, but I just have to, because I think that is season 4 setup. And ultimately in this special, you have to see what they're setting up. It is kind of we plan a spin-off, potentially. This is where we would like to go with it. And we have stuff for season 4. And I'm pretty sure the special confirms that Adrien is dating Kagami, because before they go off, Kagami straight up just kisses Adrien on the mouth. Yeah, I don't know why I had to say it on the mouth, but they do kiss. He's not that into it, but all right, I guess they're dating. Also, Marinette is with Luka, maybe? They kind of don't make that as clear as Adrien and Kagami. I don't know. You guys probably don't know, but I'm not a big Luka guy. I think Luka's just the worst. Like, okay, not the worst, but I don't know. He just, I hate the fact that Luka's so comfortable being her second choice. Like, come on, man. Have some self-respect. Like, don't be so cool with her constantly wanting someone else when she's in a relationship with you. I don't get it, personally, and it frustrates me, personally, but that's not important. He's not in the episode long. That's great, because I would not have wanted him in the episode long. Also, the Luka episodes aren't great either. But that's neither here nor there. There's Miraculous in New York. Hawkmoth wants it. The kids are taking a trip there coincidentally for some reason. Not for some reason. Parents, like French-American Friendship Day, whatever. But they're off to the races. They're going that way. And on the plane ride, right, on the flight over, Marinette is Adrien's, like, seatmate, like she's sitting next to him, and all the hijinks you would expect ensue. And that leads me to my next point of this episode. It is a surprisingly funny episode. It's very well written in terms of the humor. Like, they have some running jokes that are legitimately hilarious. Like the fact that Mr. Gorilla, Adrien's bodyguard, has to go with him, and he's afraid of flying and doesn't like, I guess, other countries, because even when they get to New York, he's still freaking out. So yeah, they have a running joke with him and his like yoga tapes of like self-confidence boosting like speech things. You know the ones I'm talking about, the ones that they sell in like hotel ballrooms when you don't want to be there, that like get help. It doesn't matter. That was a great running joke. The joke that like Marinette apparently doesn't know how doors work. I thought that was funny. That made me laugh every time it happened. And like the amount of door trouble she gets into in this episode is pretty funny. I don't know. They just had a lot of really good scenes that way. And like there's a bunch of sight gags in the back. I don't know. Like the fact that the speedster, all he really wants is to just sit down and relax, like to just chill, to like not be on the move. That was funny. I don't know. Ton of sight gags. Legitimately funny episode, and honestly just well written in terms of pacing, because like they get to New York. On the way, their plane is attacked by what they call Techno Pirate. The villain gets a different name like every other scene, so I think from here on out I'm just gonna refer to him as Upgrade from like Ben 10. I believe that's that alien's name. He has the same power. He touches technology. He can control that technology, and that's kind of the base of his power, but it changes so much throughout the episode. It's kind of wacky, honestly, how many different versions of this guy, and he doesn't know what's going on. That's the funny bit. That's circling on all back to how funny the episode is. The guy, I'm not convinced, ever really knew what happened in this episode. He's like the main antagonist that they're fighting throughout the whole special. But he himself never really made any of the decisions. It's pretty funny. Hawkmoth keeps akumatizing him, and each time he's like, whoa, what happened? And then he gets akumatized again, and then he just doesn't know what happened. He probably earned like 3 life sentences and doesn't know why. That is hilarious to me. I don't know. People going to prison isn't funny, but the way it happened, it was pretty good. But we are introduced to more superheroes, the American superheroes, and the way this show like pokes fun at America, apart from just being the before mentioned hilarious, is actually pretty clever. Like the fact that Alia's like, oh yeah, we're in America. They have a superhero for everything. And sure enough, it kind of feels like we do. Because I know superhero media and like television and culture is like very big in the United States. I, for one, know all about it because I live in the United States. I love superhero stuff. It's part of the reason why I love this show. And like the amount of superheroes we're introduced to are pretty fun. Like, there's a guy named Hot Dog Dan, and that's just so funny and American to me. And like, I guess he sells radioactive hot dogs that give people temporary superpowers. I don't know if that's up to code, but they eat them. They have them at this party thing, which is another weird thing. All right, so again, jumping around to get to the States. And their plane is attacked by a supervillain. And you think, oh, the heroes came. They saved us, right? Majestia, Night Owl, Uncanny Valley, which was a weird name choice to me. But all right, that's her name, Uncanny Valley. And Sparrow. Sparrow's my personal favorite, and we'll get into that. But so they get attacked. They get to the States. And the heroes stalk them for some reason. Why are they tailing these random kids from Paris? Like, I know it's French-American Friendship Week or whatever. But aren't there tons of French people coming to America then? What is it about this specific class that made the French people, that made the American heroes put Sparrow and Uncanny Valley undercover to like keep track of these kids? I don't understand. That was weird. Like, it's one of those choices, like I said, that just I don't get. Or maybe they didn't explain well. Maybe I wasn't paying attention. Maybe I just blacked out for 2 seconds. Why did they care to like follow these random kids from Paris? They don't know Ladybug and Cat Noir is there. But whatever, they go to this hotel. Those two are undercover, spying on them. And they all go to this party on the roof where they meet Hot Dog Dan. And he gives them radioactive hot dogs. And they dance. And Marinette and Adrien dance. And the way they dance together, honestly, is... while I was watching it, I couldn't help but say, all right, Adrien, calm down. Like, you've got a girlfriend, mate. Like, dude, what are you doing? Like, they get very close. It's a slow dance. They're flying in the moonlight. It's very romantic stuff. So much so that it made me uncomfortable for him. Like, if I were Adrien's mate, right? If I were his bud, if I were Nino, I would see that situation. I know Nino ships him and Marinette, but I would look at that situation and say, dude, like... yeah, man, you have a girlfriend. You can't be doing that stuff. I know, like, Marinette and Luka's kind of wishy-washy right now because of Luka never being assertive in anything ever, but whatever. But Adrien is with Kagami. Like, that wasn't cool. So much so that, like, it really makes me reevaluate Adrien as a character if he's willing to, like, 2-time Kagami. Because he sends Marinette a lot of mixed signals in this special. Like, a lot. Like, later, like, he... gets into this whole thing about, oh, I like a friend just like you, Marinette. Even at the party, even later on, even when he thinks he's like trapped in a room or whatever, he's like, oh, I'm okay if I'm trapped with a friend like you, Marinette. And honestly, that's mixed signals to me. I don't get it. I really don't. Like, what's your game, Adrien? You have a girlfriend, dude. Stop. And also, I don't think anyone can say that Adrien says she's just a friend anymore, because I'm pretty sure Marinette says Adrien's just a friend in this special more than Adrien ever did. I'm talking about at least like once or twice a scene. She was like, oh, don't worry, he's just a friend. I don't really care about him, blah, 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 blah. And I know, I guess it takes place after season 3 and she's trying to get over Adrien, but I'm annoyed by that because she never told Adrien how she feels. And Alia agrees with me because they come up with this plan to get Marinette to admit how she really feels. And I'm on board because, like, dude, what are you talking about? You never told him how you feel. And honestly, at this point, Adrien might legitimately think Marinette hates him. Like, every time they're alone together or they have any interaction that doesn't involve other people, she freaks out and tries her best to get away from him. And if I were him, yeah, I would not assume someone liked me because they never want to spend time with me. And that's on Marinette. I don't know. I can't help you, Marinette. I'm sorry. It would take a team of psychologists to help you out. But I love it. Honestly, Crazy Marinette is my favorite Marinette. Oh, and I guess I also really need to talk about like Ladybug and Cat Noir's dynamic right now, because I guess they sort of just agreed to be friends, but Ladybug needs to go to New York. So what does she do? She tells Cat Noir, hey, I've got to go somewhere, and I'll give you this cute little cat thing, and if any trouble arises, just let me know. You're in charge of Paris while I'm gone. And Cat's like, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, why not? But you know what? I guess he can't, because as soon as the opportunity for the trip comes up, Adrien's like, I don't know if I can do this. To which Plague is like, you promised Ladybug, right? Who cares? Just do whatever you want. I'm not responsible in this dynamic. I know I'm one half of the two most powerful Kwami that we know of, but I don't care. Just do what you want, dude. We'll fly back if anything happens with our spacesuits. Again, reiterating, why don't they just keep those spacesuits on all the time? They're super practical. I don't get it. But wouldn't you know it, their trip is interrupted by the techno drone pirate upgrade thing, whatever it is. He gets into the museum, he attacks, Ladybug and Cat Noir show up, and then Ladybug's like, hey, I told you to take care of Paris. What are you doing here? And he's like, hey, I don't have a good answer for that. Sorry? And then they get into this battle. All the while, Ladybug's pissed, probably for good reason. I mean, he did tell her he would be in Paris, but then he's not. So, yeah, dude, what were you doing? What's your game? Well, anyways, they get into a fight, and Cat Noir just straight up kills Uncanny Valley. He straight up kills her, and the bad guy gets away. Everyone's pissed at Cat Noir. Cat Noir's angry at himself for obvious reasons. I mean, Marinette like brings back Uncanny Valley with her lucky charm, so it's like, whatever. She didn't really die. She's a robot. Oh, we didn't really talk about the fact that she's a robot. She's a robot. It's cool. Think of it like Vision, basically. And yeah, that's about it. That's all I have to say about that. But she dies, and Marinette brings her back to life. Ladybug brings her back to life. And then Cat Noir is like, you know what? Yeah, I kind of not good at this, am I? I kind of like keep weighing you down. And honestly, the show has not done a great job of really validating why Cat Noir is part of the team. It's like a common criticism that people have of the show. It's a common criticism I have of the show. I love Cat Noir. He's probably my favorite character. But honestly, does Ladybug really need him? I know at the end of the episode, Ladybug is like, oh, I don't know if I can do this without him. Yes, you can. I'm sorry, Ladybug. I'm sorry, Adrien. I'm sorry, Cat Noir. But does she really need him? I don't know. Let me know if you guys feel she can or does need him, but whatever. Cat Noir gives up his ring. He's like, all right, I'm done being Cat Noir. Marinette's like, no, don't do it, but I'm not gonna actually stop you for some reason. Okay. She should know there would be no way for her to know who Cat Noir is. I mean, there's tons of ways she should know who Cat Noir is, because I find it so hard to believe they didn't know who the other was the moment they both showed up in the exact same locked room in the museum, but whatever. And Cat Noir leaves his ring, but then he just disappears. He vanishes. Adrien runs, but like, where? They show you where they're at. It's like a giant sewer chasm. He doesn't have his powers. If he went in there, he'd die. I don't know how Adrien got out of that, but whatever. Cat Noir is dead. Yeah, okay, sure he is. But like, that gets wrapped up way too easily, in my opinion. I think my biggest problems with this special are in the third act, like the last 20 minutes, because Adrien feels down. He killed someone. He betrayed Marinette's trust, Ladybug, I should say, and Paris was destroyed, like irreparably. Like, it's not something that the lucky charm can fix, because while they were fighting this guy, there was a senti-monster in Paris, and Cat Noir should have been there. And yeah, he feels terrible about it. And Marinette didn't do much to make him feel better about it, but she shouldn't have to, because yes, he did mess up. And like, that's fine. They don't really address it. Ladybug's like, oh man, I kind of need Cat Noir. And then he comes back because the robot figures out their secret identities. Uncanny Valley, Aya, I think her actual alter ego name is. She figures out their secret identities because she's like, hey, yeah, I'm a robot, so I'm not dumb. I know who you guys are. And we need you now because Upgrade is like wreaking havoc because the heroes I want to be evil. Like they're secretly evil. Like Hawkmoth gets his hands on the Talon Miraculous. It's a cute little eagle thing. All right, cool. I'm on board. And he gives it to Upgrade and he's like, oh, this Miraculous unlocks people's potential. But it doesn't really though, right? Like he uses it on the other superheroes, on the American superheroes. And I guess it just kind of works kind of like the mask. It like takes away all your inhibitions. So like everything you've always wanted to do, you do. And I don't know what the writers are saying about human nature and the fact that if people didn't have inhibitions, everyone secretly wants to go on a rampage and like destroy everything. But I really can't argue with that point. So, all right, that's where we're at. The American superheroes get hit by the Talon power, the Talon Miraculous. And they just want to like destroy stuff. Also, I keep saying Talon Miraculous. I actually don't know if that's what it's called in my notes. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not professional. But Ladybug, Cat Noir very easily get over their like, yeah, you betrayed my trust. Okay, I don't care. I'll trust you now. So they get back together. They fight the villains. And the American villains are just like destroying stuff. And that whole segment is a lot of fun. Like Majestia is crazy powerful, probably more powerful than Superman at this point because she's able to push the moon towards the earth because that's what everyone who wants superpowers always wanted to do, right? Destroy planet Earth. There's an action sequence. They defeat the villain. All's well that ends well. And they give Sparrow a Miraculous. Like they let her keep the Talon Miraculous, which honestly, guys, circling into my biggest problem with this special, I was really won over by Sparrow and Uncanny Valley. And they were probably my two favorite characters in this special. They were. I was a total fan. I was a bit skeptical about like how I would feel about the US heroes going into it, but I was totally won over by the end of it. They're all cool. The main four that we know, like every single one of them is cool. I was very fascinated by the idea that like Talon, that Night Owl and Sparrow were like a title that was passed down from generation to generation, and how the successors are chosen, I don't know, because it seemed like that was her fault. I don't know. I was fascinated by that, but they throw it out the window. They're like, oh, you have a Miraculous now? You have a worse suit than the Sparrow costume? Forget about it. Like, I don't know. Sparrow was probably my favorite one of the American superheroes. I thought that were cool. They had that Batman Robin dynamic that I really enjoy. And the way they end it is just, oh, you have superpowers now? Forget that life. Everyone knows you're a girl now. Just keep that going. And I don't know. I just didn't appreciate that. Like they gave me, like I came for Blue Beetle and they gave me Blue Beetle. Like I came for Batman and they gave me Man Bat. And not to mention, the Eagle, I guess their name is, the Eagle Miraculous costume is nowhere near as cool as her Sparrow costume. That's just my opinion, but I don't know. I really disliked that. I thought her character was strongest when it was a very capable human going up against these monsters and magical entities, and they just say, you know what? I guess you can't compete, so let's give you magical powers. And Ladybug, who's supposed to be the guardian of the Miraculous, is all cool with it. She's like, you know what? I know this is a Miraculous. I know I've only known you for like a day and a half maybe. Keep it. I'll never get it back. She gives Miraculouses out, yeah, to like Nino and them, but she always gets it back. But with this one girl, she has no proof. She has no way of knowing that some other sage dude is going to show up to set up a spinoff. She doesn't know that. So she just like says, hey, this incredibly dangerous infinite source of magical energy. Here you go. You'll use it. All right. I trust you. Honestly, I'm done with America. I had a long day. That's her attitude towards it at the end. I know you guys probably disagree. That's just what I took away from it. Also, I guess another really big takeaway is that Marinette, I guess, confirms that she is in love with Adrien. Like in this episode, she really needs to come with grips. She needs to come to grips with the fact that, yeah, she still loves Adrien. She can't lie to herself and say he's just a friend. Every time she says that, like, and it's brilliant in terms of the voice acting. Like, every time she says that, it sounds more and more like she's trying to convince herself. Like, he's just a friend, though. No, he's not, Marinette. You're the only one who doesn't see it. And Adrien. But, like, that's because Adrien was raised in a shell, in a prison. Like, he didn't meet any other people until he was, like, 15 or 14 or however old they are in the show. Also, as cool as the final conflict was, at the back of my mind, I just couldn't help but think, would have been easier with your spacesuits, guys. Would have been a lot easier with your spacesuits. They have this convoluted plan to get up to upgrade because he has like this nuclear bomb, because that's all Americans have. And they keep poking fun of the fact that, yes, in America, there are guns everywhere. And in this episode, yeah, there are guns everywhere. Like, they're coming out of dumpsters and stuff. I thought that was funny. But, like, I don't know. The spacesuits would have made it all that easier. But whatever. All's well that ends well. They set up a spin-off at the end of this. The Paris people, the Parisians, go back to Paris. And Ladybug and Cat Noir are just sort of like, yeah, I'll see you later. We'll talk about this later, I guess. It was a crazy day. We'll talk about it later. And so, like, now Eagle, I guess, is Sparrow's new name, which is a worse name and worse costume and potentially worse hero, but whatever. I know I should have more. I know I should have more faith in the writing. But this dude, I'm assuming Native American man with his own version of the miracle box, is like, hey, now that we found Talon, you need to give it back. To which they're like, no. And to which he's like, I smell opportunity in a spinoff here. And that's where it ends. Okay. Now, there is a way to save this, right? I was thinking about it while I was typing up my notes that I stuck to very poorly, if you can probably tell if you're here this far. The way to make this work, the way to fix the Eagle character to me, if you're going to get rid of Sparrow, which I think is a very big mistake, but if you're going to go that route, it would be very interesting. Instead of one character who gives Miraculouses to other people, you have a bunch of Miraculouses used by one character. So in much the same way that they use the Ladybug and Cat Noir use their upgrades with their suits, like every episode, Jess is Sparrow's name. Jess could use a different Miraculous from that box. Like, she's the only one who's allowed to use them in every episode. Kind of like Ben 10. I don't know why that keeps coming up, but she'll use a different Miraculous for the specified situation. And I thought that would be a very good way to at least get her out of that costume, which I don't care for really. Keep her in the Sparrow suit longer because she can be in that until she decides which Miraculous she needs to use, because like Miraculouses are kept secret, and like maybe she doesn't want people to know about it. But that's just me grasping at straws here, guys, at this point. I don't know what they're gonna do with it. I don't know if the spinoff is actually happening. They just totally set it up, and I think Thomas Astruc, that guy at this point, is just like, hey, yeah, if fans want it enough, talk to the producers, we'll make it, because we have a shared universe now. And yeah, guys, that's pretty much most of what I have to say about the episode. I know a lot of it was rambling, but biggest takeaways. I love Sparrow and all the American superheroes, actually. I thought I liked all their vibes. I liked their outfits. I liked their designs. Except when she became Eagle, which is such a shame because I liked the Sparrow character. I have such a respect for those Batman-type characters, the humans facing the gods, the people that are like, no, even if I don't have power, I will stand up for what's right. And I think that makes for more impactful storytelling. But no, they just gave her powers. And I thought that was a bit, I don't know. It just wasn't my thing. That's my biggest takeaway. Adrien kind of wanted to cheat on Kagami, I guess, in this episode. Marinette's still not sure about how she feels about Luka. Cat Noir and Ladybug are all like, we're friends now, sort of. And at the end of the day, Hawkmoth didn't really care. Like, he loses and he's just like, another day. I don't know if he's gotten so used to losing that's his attitude towards it now. But yeah, that's basically what happens. They defeat him and he's like, I'm not that broken up about it. Whatever. There are more Miraculouses out there. I won't really do much to try to find them. Gotta go check on my wife in the Mr. Freeze tube thing. Whatever, guys. That's how I feel about it. I'm sure I'm missing a lot. I'm sure there's so many things I didn't talk about. I'm sorry. I'm not too good at this job, but it was a fun episode. I love Miraculous. I'm excited for season 4 to come back whenever that will be. Expect more ramblings, but not as long. This was a very long episode. And yeah, guys, thanks for watching. If you did, be sure to subscribe if you want. You can like if you want. You don't have to. I'm not your dad or your boss or even Hawkmoth who could akumatize you to do that. I'm just a guy who made too many Ben 10 references in a Miraculous review. Have a good day, guys. Be safe. And remember, if you go to New York, be sure to stop by the Hot Dog Dan's hot dog cart for a night of potential moonlit cheating. Be safe.